everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to talk about my cancer journey. My name is Zinke and I have been in remission for 9 years. I think it's 9 years. Yes, I was diagnosed in 2014 and had my surgeries between 2014 and 2015. Yes, so today I'm actually having my favorite wine. It is, I can't say these words, Cabinet Sauvignon or something like that. Yes, this one is from Chile. Yeah, it's still nice, from 2021. I actually like wine from South Africa, Italy, New Zealand, but I always try and find South Africa first, if not Italy. But this time around I could only get this. Yes. Anyway, cancer. So I was diagnosed in 2014 January, between January and Feb. How it started: December, I decided to go spend my Christmas and New Year's in Durban, December 2013. And 2 days before New Year's Eve, I started feeling a little bit sick. I felt like I was bloated at first. We tried Eno. My friend bought me Eno. It didn't work. I think Eno is supposed to help with bloating. I'm not 100% sure. The next day I went to see a doctor in hospital and I did x-rays and blood tests. Then they concluded that I had something called fecal loading and gave me some medication. I am not 100% sure what is fecal loading, but I did not have fecal loading. A few days later I felt better and I was actually flying back to Cape Town for work because that's where I lived. And this was the second time flying. It was in the morning. So I got into the airport flight. I was hungry and a bit anxious about flying generally. So I started feeling sick in the flight actually. But I thought it was because of being new in this thing and being hungry. So when I got to Cape Town, I bought a Steers burger. Can't forget that burger because it actually just ruined everything for me. I went to work same time. When I arrived in Cape Town, went straight to work and I ate that burger. An hour later I was so unwell, like I was so sick. But I couldn't actually say at work because I had problems, guys, at work at that time. Because I was supposed to work like from 8 in the morning, but I was late because I had to fly. And yeah, so I decided that I was just gonna finish the day. The next day I didn't go to work. I just slept through it home. I didn't even eat that day because it was just, my stomach was just so uncomfortable. The second day I was home again. I was now feeling a little bit better. I didn't take anything. I just continued with the medication I got from the hospital from Durban. Third day I decided to go see a doctor because at work at that time the policy was if you are sick for 3 consecutive days you need a sick note. So I just needed to get a sick note. So I woke up the morning and I went to the bathroom. As I opened the door, I fell, guys. I fell. I'm not the type of person that just falls, no. And I didn't miss any step. I was just trying to open the door and then I just fell. Then I remember sitting there thinking that something must be really wrong about me. I just need to figure out what it is. So I took a shower and I went to see a doctor in another hospital in Cape Town in Milnerton. Now I didn't eat that day as well. I mostly felt full, like most of the time. Like I was just always feeling full. So I went there to see a doctor, told them the story, showed the medication. I brought my medication from the other hospital, and then they decided that they were gonna do another x-ray. So I went through and they did the x-ray. They also did blood tests. Waited for my results. They told me, ma'am, you can't go home. We need to treat you immediately. We are actually gonna hospitalize you. I was shocked, like, hold on. I came here to get a sick note. The whole point of being here is for me to just get a sick note. In fact, tomorrow I'm supposed to be back at work, They were like, no, you can't go. We have to treat you. Called my sister, told my sister what was happening and my parents as well. I was in hospital for 3 days. My sister came, and after that, the doctor booked me for a colonoscope. I think a week later, I went in for this test. If I remember, it was supposed to be two tests. They were gonna put a camera on my mouth and also from my bum, but they could only do one that day. They could successfully do one that day, which was through my mouth. The one from my bum, apparently there was something blocking them some way, so they couldn't pass through. Now, from that day, the doctor said to me, "Oh, I need to come back the next day with someone older." And I was just like, "Hold on, my man. I'm 21 years old. You can tell me anything." But he was very adamant into me bringing someone older. So the next day, I came with my sister, and I think it was honestly just for support, really, because how did he know that my sister was older than me? Like, you can't really tell. My sister doesn't really look old. You could think within the same age. Um, so then I was told from there that they suspect cancer, and he has already referred me to another hospital in Cape Town because they couldn't help me in the hospital. And the appointment to see this doctor was on the same day. So we proceeded with my sister to this other hospital on the other side of Cape Town, in New City, and we met the doctor, and the doctor explained and explained. It was just apparent that I actually had, like, well, they did say that I had colon cancer from that test that I did, but they then sent me for more tests. On the same day, I went for a CT scan. Then they booked me for an MRI scan. After doing the MRI scan, which was a week later, the doctor then also confirmed that I had rectal cancer. The cancer that I had hadn't actually spread through my colon. It was just on the right side, and then another one was just on my rectum. So yeah, this was shocking news. It was mentally draining, emotionally draining to go through this whole thing, because it was a bit, I think after I had done all the tests, yeah, the doctor then said he wanted to discuss my treatment plan with other doctors, and he would want me to be there once they've reached the conclusion. And this was going to be done in a different hospital, in a teaching hospital, I think, yeah. So I needed to go to the hospital. I went with my sister again, and it was a sad day for me. I was so sad. I was crying the whole time, crying non-stop. I didn't want to be touched by any doctor. I was just tired. I had been doing tests after tests, and it was just becoming too much for me. That day we spent literally the whole day in hospital. Eventually it was my turn to see the doctor, and they explained what they were going to do, which they were going to do the first surgery to remove my colon totally and create a stoma. And then after that, I was going to have to do 28 days of chemotherapy and radiation. And I was going to wait a couple of months and then do the removal of my rectum, where they will create something called a J pouch, which is supposed to act like my rectum. And then after that, wait another 4 to 6 months and then have my stoma reversed. At that time, it sounded like a lot. Like, this is too much. There's a lot of things that are going to be taken out of me. So, but even, and then, yeah, from that day, then they booked me for my first surgery. My mom came from Eastern Cape 2 days before my surgery. So they explained to my mom as well what they're going to do. And to me again. So I remember my mom assessing this doctor. She was like to me, "Oh, this doctor looks old. He probably knows what he's doing, you know." Then there was this moment where my mom actually wanted to use the bathroom, and I had to show her where the bathroom was. So I was walking to the bathroom with my mom, and it was actually the first time when I had like a moment where it was just me and her, and I cried, guys. Like, I cried. I had a lot of emotions going through that time. I was sad that I was sick. I felt that I was gonna die. I was sad that she was gonna have to bury me, you know, like, are you ready to bury me? I really thought I was gonna die. I did not see myself living until now at all. So yeah, I remember my mom consoling me that everything was gonna be fine. He believes this doctor knows what he's doing, blah blah blah. Anyway, the next day I had my surgery. It was early in the morning. My sister was I think it was a Saturday morning if I remember. My sister, two of my sisters were there, and my flatmate and my mom. They explained again what they were gonna do, and my other sister was busy recording and taking videos because she just, like, everybody honestly didn't really understand everything that was said there, and she had past experience where she was told that her friend was gonna go through they're gonna do something and it's minor, but it ended up not being minor. But so she was concerned because of that. I had my first surgery and it went okay. 2 weeks later, I was actually discharged, and then it was time for chemotherapy and radiation. I met with my oncologist, discussed the plan. At first, I was just not on board. It took a while for me to actually agree to do this thing. Um, 18 days into the treatment, I gave up. I basically gave up. I felt that I was dying and I just wanted to go home. I was experiencing all the side effects they had mentioned, and the worst one for me was the shortness of breath or struggling to breathe. I think that was too much. Everything else was fine. I was okay living with those things. It was the breathing was the problem, and the fact that at times I felt like I was going crazy. There were times when I felt like I was going crazy, guys. I would see things that other people didn't see. That other people didn't see. Those were the two main ones for me. And I used to notice that the crazy part started when I would take my chemos and tablets. When I would take my tablets, 30 minutes later, I would start seeing things double. Anyway, 18 days, I gave up. I went home. I really thought I was gonna die. I didn't see myself making it at all, at all. Even on that day when I took the bus home, like, I thought I was gonna die in that bus. The way I was so sick, it was terrible. I was buying Vicks on the way, Strepsils, anything to just try and open up my airway because I felt like I was blocked somehow. But I made it home, and my dad came to pick me up, and we went home. It was really good. However, because my dad was seeing me for the first time since the whole thing, my dad actually called all my sisters, apparently, like, asking them what was happening. Like, he knew what was happening, but I don't think he knew the extent, like how bad things were. Unfortunately, my dad couldn't come to Cape Town throughout the period when I was treated. So I went back in July to 2014 to have the second surgery. The doctors actually agreed to do the second surgery, even though I didn't finish the treatment. So they removed my rectum and they created the straight pouch. That was the most painful surgery I've ever done. It took so long for me to heal from it. It took very long. It's like very, very long. I was discharged and then they readmitted me a couple of days later. I had draining things that were attached to me that I had to, when they discharged me the second time, that I had to, like, go home with. That one was hardcore. Even when I was now fully discharged and I was home in Eastern Cape, I took medication, like pain medication, for very long compared to my first surgery. My first surgery, I think I took like pain medication for like a week after leaving the hospital, and that was it. But second, I took the pain medication until December, January, when I went back in 2015 to be assessed if I was ready for the stoma. I went back in January, they assessed me and they felt that I was ready for a stoma. 29 January is the day I went in for the surgery. I was supposed to be there for 5 days. 5. Out of all my surgeries, out of everything that happened, that is one time that really traumatized me. 5 days ended up being almost 3 months in hospital. I remember, I think we were about 5 or 6 people in the ward who had come for reversals, and they were being discharged over 5-6 days. They were going home, and there I was, getting worse and worse and worse. So what happened was, for me, it just didn't work out. and things were just getting bad every day, to a point where I stopped drinking water or eating anything. And I was on TPN, the feed, at some point. I then, it was bad, guys. I was not improving at all. At all. I was pale. I mean, I'm dark. Imagine me being pale. Um, and then at some point, I actually requested to have the stoma back. The doctor agreed, and I had the stoma, which is the fourth surgery. I had the stoma, and I was fine. And I was just like, all I needed really was to just have the stoma back. So from that time, I then decided that I was leaving. Oh, yeah. Then I was supposed to do chemotherapy for 6 months now after my all these things were done. I went in for my appointment with my doctor where we were going to discuss this thing. I went with my sister, with my other sister. She was back from the Netherlands, yes. And I had my questions listed on my phone that I was going to ask the doctor. I had already made the decision that I wasn't going to do it. However, I just needed reassurance that, yeah, you're really not going to do this. I asked my questions to the doctor, and then I made my decision that, listen, doctor, I know you mean well. However, I'm not doing this thing. I did it last year for just 18 days and I almost died. Imagine me taking chemo for 6 months. I'm gonna die the first month. That's how I felt. So I made a decision not to do chemotherapy. I didn't take chemotherapy the 6 months one. So I then moved to Johannesburg, and I still thought I was gonna die. Moved to Johannesburg, and I just wanted to die in peace somewhere else different. And I went there to look for a job and to continue pursuing my studies. I did that. It was okay. The only struggles that I had at that time was my stoma bags. I just didn't have working stoma bags at all. Whether I was getting them privately or in public, they were just terrible. 2018 January, I moved back to Cape Town for personal reasons which had nothing to do with hospitals and stuff. I completed my studies, my postgrad in 2018. Then 2019, I went back to the hospital, be like, hey, I'm back. I'm done doing what I wanted to do. Now can we just look into my health once again? I did all the tests in 2019, and they said in December, around December 2019, that I was ready to have a reversal. So I chose to do it in June 2020. I chose June really because I was doing my articles, my training, and I felt that by June I would have had all my competencies and my hours, so I could miss work for a couple of months. That was fine. However, the pandemic happened and that was cancelled. So I then decided to move to to UK in 2022, and I've been seeing doctors here as well, and they've basically said I can have the stoma reversed. However, they feel that they need to recreate the J pouch, so that means I need 2 surgeries instead of 1, because there's a narrowing in my J pouch, and I don't think I want to do that. So I've basically said no, or put things on hold. I haven't actually said no to my doctors. I have just said to them, I'm still thinking about it, but I think I'm not gonna do it. I don't see myself doing 2 surgeries, no. Since moving to the UK, I have then received bags that actually work for me, and I receive enough of those bags. I receive a bag every single day. I have a bag for every single day, and these bags are delivered to my doorstep, which is amazing. Now I have to go to the hospital and beg nurses to give me, which is something that I did in South Africa, beg nurses to give me bags because they are not enough. So yeah, life has been great, honestly, since moving to UK in terms of the stoma. It has been so much better, 10 times, 100 times better than it was when I was in South Africa. I struggled a lot when I was in SA, guys, a lot over the years, all the time. Like, sometimes I would get a bag that would work for a while, for one change, and then things go back. There will always be leakages. My skin will be irritated. Sometimes I would react to the bags. It was just too much. So yeah, it's been great. I've been okay. The only thing, I haven't been to the hospital, like hospitalized with anything cancer related. So yeah, it's been great. Honestly, I'm doing a lot better. I am also grateful that actually that I'm here in UK. Even though people see the system here being flawed, it's flawed just like the South African system. But I do believe that I have been treated a lot better than I was back home. I don't have to fight for things, guys. I don't have to fight for bags. I think the main thing for me in South Africa was that I was actually fighting to get enough stomach bags, and they will tell you that we can only give you 10. I'm like, 10 is not enough for me. I have an ileostomy, and mine is very active, and I can tell you I can't keep a bag for longer than 2 days. So how am I gonna use 10 bags then in a month? If you go to other provinces in South Africa, like in Eastern Cape, I'll be very specific. When I was in Port Elizabeth, for example, they gave me 5 bags, and they were like, five should be enough for them. Five. I was puzzled, like how on earth? But then apparently they don't get enough bags themselves, like in hospital, the nurses. But I just feel like, okay, I'm not gonna get into the politics of this whole thing, but so happy that I actually made the decision to move to the UK, because that's the only element I was missing in this whole thing, just having a bag that works. I do believe that I can actually buy this bag. I was buying bags in 2021 when I was in South Africa. They are expensive, but I was buying them because I was trying to find a bag that worked. And I feel like I was close, honestly, to getting the right bag, because the bag that I'm getting here in UK compared to the one I had when I was buying, it's different, but it's the same company, almost like the same group. But I was just, I guess, because I didn't know which one I needed to use, I was just buying whatever bag, thinking that it would work. So yes, life has been good. I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm drinking wine. Cheers to that.